But now, couple of important notes on the questions of war and peace, because we're talking about the Prince of Peace, right? Many columnists don't seem to understand this. First of all, in Kiev, we've got the meddlers. We've got John McCain. You can see a very interesting meme that's circulating on the Internet. It's got a bunch of these poor Ukrainian dupes, or maybe fascists or neo-Nazis in the Svoboda Party, and they're out there. Seemingly their agenda is that their daughter should become a cleaning woman in London, or that multinational corporations and Goldman Sachs should buy up that rich Ukrainian black earth farmland. Remember, Ukraine is a breadbasket. People who want to take over the Ukraine maybe want to do it for reasons of food control, to try to starve out certain others. This must not be allowed to happen. And then, of course, John McCain, scorned and reviled here most deservedly because of his warmonger tendencies. You can see this guy has never seen a war that he didn't want to start. He's up there thinking, as he's lionized by the crowd in Maidan, Independence Square, gosh, if Americans were this gullible, I could have been president. But it was not to be. Putin, as a statesman, has now intervened. $15 billion Russian loan and purchases of Ukrainian bonds. There will be no state bankruptcy, and the price of natural gas goes down from $400 to $268. That was always available. If you want a political price, then give political concessions. It's easy. It's called political economy. So we're hoping that General Winter, Field Marshal Winter, should now do his work and let Moros, right, the Frost, with his red nose, come and invite these hapless protesters out of the square. And their poor leader, this Klitschko, we're thinking about the poor guys in the National Football League with all those concussions, and even baseball players with concussions. What are we to make of poor Klitschko? He should go and seek treatment. His most recent statement seemed to be challenging Yanukovych to go and have a prize fight in the ring. What a lamentable method of arguing, the absolute nadir. And now Syria, right? Last week, as we've pointed out, and with help from many of our listeners and from Andrew Craig that you've just heard from at the McClendon Group, we had Mother Agnes Mariam at the National Press Club, at the State Department, in Congress, and elsewhere. And now we've got, somehow, in concomitance with the Christmas holiday, we've got a new campaign, this time trying to start once again from the humanitarian emergency as winter now begins to come on with its full wrath. Just looking at the Washington Post of the last a couple of days, here we've got the Washington Post on Sunday, December 15th. The Syrian abyss. The United States stands by as a dictator starves his people. We're watching innocents die, says the Washington Post. Oh, of course, their deep humanitarian commitment, we know, from the Graham family to Bezos or Bozos or whatever his name is. That was on the 15th of December. On the 16th of December, Fred Hyatt, one of the editors of the editorial page, letting Syrians starve. And here the hypocrisy gets very dense. No one wants to send U.S. troops to Syria. That's what they tell you now. Just advisors, I guess, or spotters. No one contemplated sending U.S. troops to Syria. But Susan Rice, when she was talking about Sudan, Darfur, 10 years ago, military action might entail airdrops, a no-fly zone to protect civilians from government bombing, the establishment of humanitarian safe zones, and security for critical deliveries by rail and road. I'm sorry, a no-fly zone is a comprehensive bombing campaign with tens of thousands of deaths. I'm sorry. These are hypocrites. Starve. 50,000 people a day starve in this world, Fred Hyatt. and Washington Post editorial board. Why do you get so worked up over this particular example when your cold indifference to all the rest could hardly have been more complete? And now we have today, as we're recording on December 18th, Wednesday, a day in Syria. U.S. inaction in the war-torn country could prove costlier than intervention. And they've got this campaign going about the barrel bombs. I suspect this will turn out to be a new Kuwait incubator babies, a new Jessica Lynch, a new Neda, or whatever it is. Syrian government helicopters on Monday dropped barrel bombs on residential neighborhoods in Aleppo, packed with screws, scrap metal, old car parts, blades, and explosives, says the Wall Street Journal. Oh, that other humanitarian organ, always alert for any violation of human rights, especially economic rights, all over the world. So you get the picture. There is a campaign, and I think it has to do with the fact that we're looking not even at the last throes, but quite possibly the death rattle of the terrorist insurgency. All that money put in by Saudi Arabia, all that money put in by Qatar and the Emirates and the rest of them, and all that effort from the CIA. And now the warehouses have come under control of the recalcitrant terrorists, right, the Al-Qaeda types. And will they start shooting down airliners? Well, you get the picture. Aleppo, it seems to me, is approaching liberation. When? I don't know, but it's perfectly feasible. And the big challenge now during the Christmas holidays and New Year's and the other holidays that come is to maintain vigilance on this important question. Hands off Syria. Nobody but nobody in the U.S. regime or in the U.S. media has any humanitarian credibility on a place like Syria after they cheer-led the destruction of Libya as a functioning modern country. That is their goal for Syria. It is mass murder. Don't believe their stories. The State Department and the Washington Post are hardly concerned about starving children in refugee camps in Turkey or in Jordan. They're looking for excuses, pretexts to start a wider war, and it must not happen. And there's a soft line on this stuff. David Ignatius pioneers the soft line that he takes up Walter Russell Mead, the end of history ends, and all of the sophisticated people in the Middle East are horrified by, does the U.S. understand that its credibility has collapsed in this part of the world, says a well-connected Arab who speaks with the region's leaders. Well, if you mean the militarized foreign policy, that had to end sooner or later, so it might as well end right now. And we're happy to be going into the Christmas holiday with no war in Syria, no war in Iran, and any politician or even media hack, press whore or hound who tries to change that by introducing war will find themselves swept away in 2014